This book changed my life, and it will change yours too. I promise that after this video, you'll get the resume, the entire summary of Think and Grow Rich, one of the greatest books. I'm going to show you exactly how it changed my life and also how it can also change your life, not that. So if you want to read it, you will have a great idea about how or what to expect. If you don't want to read it, this is all what you need, and this is all what I learned from it. So the way that I'm going to do it is I'm going to give you the stories, then I'm going to give you the lessons, then I'm going to give you some secrets of mine, all right? So I started reading this book about 3 months ago. It was actually recommended by Iman Gadzi, who is a content creator who makes videos about finance, okay? So I got this clip. He said, well, there's these books that I read like a few years ago, and he said 2. I said like, all right, cool. I really just was not really that big. I said I want to read something, so whatever it is, I'm gonna read it. So I got the recommendation. I actually started reading the book. Actually, it was awesome. The book is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. He spent 22 years writing this book, and he was hired by Carnegie, they said, who's the richest man in the world back then. And also, he studied all the richest, like literally he just studied the richest man in the world at that point. He studied Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, etc. And he was part of this group. There was 63 people. He calls it the Mastermind Alliance. More on that later. We're talking about sponsors here or what? It's not sponsors. It's just the chapter of the book. So all this will make sense in a second. So the book basically starts talking about how really this book is very important and how it really changed lives of thousands of people, and how he studied 25,000 people in the span of 22 years to be able to write this book. The first chapter is about thought vibration. So thought vibration is basically, he speaks about everything is made of vibrations. There's also this other book, it's like by the same author, he wrote it down before this book. It's called The 16 Laws of Power. It's 16 Laws of Riches or something like that. It's the 16 laws. So it's 16 laws of success. And he speaks about the subconscious mind and vibration. And he speaks about how it's really makes the ether and makes every substance in the world. However, in this book, seems like he didn't go all in on this, but the same idea remains the same. The unconscious mind or the vibration thoughts is really what makes everything in the entire planet. So, when you enter a room, there's someone you never met and you hate him. That's your thought vibration contradicting with each other. Your unconscious mind and his unconscious mind energy are going against each other. He speaks about how unlimited intelligence can be accessed by this, and how this unconscious mind as the entity or the most powerful entity in the universe, he speaks about how it is the responsible for inspirations, hints, he even says visions and stuff like that. It's pretty interesting actually. It's pretty interesting when he speaks about it more in depth. And he speaks about how really you cannot access it except if you train it. And you can't train except if you mix desire. So you have to have a strong desire. You have to have a very strong desire, and you mix it with emotions. So what is it that you want to know? And look, all this will make sense in a second because everything is somewhat interconnected. And this book is made to transcribe what you want into its monetary existence or equivalence. Monetary is money, monetary. Or if you want to get a job or you get other things. It speaks about the law of attraction briefly, but he says he doesn't care about it. He just says, well, this is the principle. It's like this is the law of power is just part of this. You understand? And obviously he speaks about it all the time. He says like if you're gonna have a goal, you have to actually not only have it, but you have to have that goal. And at the same time you have to visualize it. So you have to know like what time, what is it, like you have to really know. And more than that, you have to know what service or product or business or whatever it is that you're gonna provide to the world in order for you to get what you want. So if you want money, what is it? What's the service or business that you're gonna do? you're gonna serve people. It's like, how will you do? It's like, what will you do to actually get what you want? It's pretty interesting. You have to visualize it. You have to see it. Like, you have to really live it as if you're really doing it now and as if you really have what you want. And he speaks about all of these lines throughout the book. I read it twice, by the way, because of how information overload it has. And he says there's a lot of lines in the books that you have to read them every day. I really didn't, being honest. I didn't. But I do. I do. I have a certain system. But the thing is, like, it's awesome, like, when you think about it. So now he speaks about the thoughts vibration. He speaks about how energy is the most important thing. So if you speak positively, you're gonna, by definition, your unconscious mind gonna get that positivity and transcribe it into its monetary equivalent. So it doesn't matter what subject it is, right? If you're gonna say the day is beautiful today, the weather is awesome, and the sky is blue, and I love it, that positive goes to your unconscious mind, which transcribes it into very good stuff. And he speaks about it all in depth. He says, look, you have to be careful. So to comprehend how much he went on depth, he made an entire other chapter. So he made unconscious mind, that's one. Then he made auto-suggestion. So basically what auto-suggestion is what do you think with yourself? It's like, I want to film a video, cool. What goes through my mind before I film the video? It's like, do I say to myself, well, I don't have this, I don't have that, whatever. Or I say, oh, it's awesome, I'm gonna film this video, it's gonna get billions of views. I know it will get billions of views. You understand? It's just different. It's a different mentality, it's a different mindset. And he speaks about it more in depth, and he says, you have to be careful about what you say to yourself. Obviously, with that being your reference group, he speaks about it more in depth, especially later on in the book. He speaks about how actually how reference group is basically when you're gonna do an act. Let's say you're gonna go out. Like, who are the people that talk to you? Like, you see in your mind, there's some people that will be like, oh, you're going out again, or whatever. Or, cool, you're going out, so we're gonna meet you, we're gonna get better, whatever it is. It's like, those should be positive and should be the people that you want to be like. And he speaks even about it, how he made Thomas Edison, Henry Ford, all of the people that he wanted in his reference group. He actually, because he practiced his imagination, at the end of the book, he speaks about it. He said, this is the first time that I'm going to speak about it, but I actually had meetings with all of these people that I've never met, and I really speak to them. He says the thing with imagination and our unconscious mind is that it has the access to unlimited intelligence, which tap into everything. Like he says, I just speak to them, and there's this story which is interesting. He says, I was with the meeting, with them. He was doing it daily or multiple times a day. Every time he has a decision, he have them all. I actually tried it. I don't know. I'm not gonna say that it worked. I'm not gonna say it didn't work. Like, I don't have a lot of statistics to be honest. So he said that he had it, and he asks them. He talks to them. He's like, "What do you think?" And for me, when I tried it, I'm like, this is a very accurate answer, right? I had a few people, right? I had Mr. Beast, I had Elon Musk, I had my older brother and my business mentor, I had some other people. It's like, I'm just like, all right, Elon Musk, like, what do you think about this decision that I'm about to make? And it's like, depends on you. Like, really, I'm like, cut the crap, Elon Musk. Like, tell me really, like, what I have to learn. So what do you mean by depend on you? Like, tell me what you think. It was like those, because I don't know. So that's how I speak. And if I'm like, well, honestly, if I was you, I'd actually just eliminate everything or something. Like, it depends on the situation. And like, that makes so much sense in my brain. That is like so of an Elon Musk. And the thing is, because our unconscious mind is very strong, and I get like very accurate answers. The thing is, like, will you do them? Like, for me, I was doing this until a point where I had to go see a therapist. Yeah, then I stopped, being honest. But the thing is, like, I don't think that most people will get there, because it was related to another subject. It was like, I wanted to drop out of college to burn all bridges, which is also like speaks about it in Think and Grow Rich. He speaks about how you should actually burn all bridges, and how someone who wanted to work with Thomas Edison, he actually burned all bridges. He moved out from his house to another city and stuff like that. And he went to Thomas Edison and he said, "I want to become your partner." Thomas Edison was like, "What?" And he actually just hired him as like the lowest in his company. The lowest is like, I don't know if it was doing, it's like just anything someone can do, right? Probably it was cleaning. Probably, I don't know. Actually, I don't remember, or I didn't care enough. So after 20 years, he actually became his partner or associate. So the thing is, and he speaks about it because he burned all bridges. He really made it so strong of a desire. He knew that he will do whatever it takes to be an associate with Thomas Edison, and that's really what he did. So it doesn't matter like what it takes. It doesn't matter. He burned all bridges, and there's no going back. So when I was reading that part of Think and Grow Rich, I really wanted to drop out of college to pursue what I want. And I said, you know what? I'm really going to burn all bridges. My family went against me and stuff like that. I went to see a therapist, and she actually convinced me otherwise. But like, yeah, I really wanted to drop out of college, you know? But these things are just part of it. So later on in the book, she speaks about other chapters like bravery. He doesn't call it bravery. He talks it. So he speaks about fears, also the last chapter. So all of this will make sense in a second, all right? Trust me. For me, actually, one of the most important things is like the chapter called faith. So you have to believe in something. Like I had this quote. I've seen this quote. It's just weird clip that popped up, and I saw it. So it's a quote. It's not from the book. Someone says, faith. So negativity is basically faith. But instead of having faith in the good stuff, you're having faith in the bad stuff. Really what it is the same thing. It's like you have to be faithful in what you want. You have to have zero doubt. One of the most important, this is big. Actually, the most important, I think, the most important chapter in the book is decision making. It's like you have to make decisions fast, change them slow. He speaks about how Henry Ford decides to do something and never went back, although everybody was against him. And probably he was wrong. But he made a shitload of money. It's like, what's that? That what made him the richest man in the world back then. And you see this, even Elon Musk, when you read his biography from the book, you find that too. He just makes a decision and never go back. Like even when he was young, we're not talking about him having $100 billion. Of course, he wants something, he will not go back. But like when he was young, in South Africa, he wanted to buy a motorbike. He wanted it, never went back. He was going to his father every single day for like 2 months or probably more. Every single day. And he's like, my dad, I want to buy a motorbike. I want to buy a motorbike. His father screams at him, whatever. He never goes away. Stays standing. And if he's like his father says like shut up or whatever, he's just shut up, but he never goes away. He just stays there. And his brother describes that he's like so persistent, which is also another chapter of the book. He speaks about persistence is like one of the essence. Like you have to be persistent. You have to get back. And the way to see it, like as a way that I would explain it is, you have to see it as a competition. So let's say there's 100 people. Like the harder it gets, the lower the number of people will stay. And think about it that way. It's like you have to actually put in again and again and again. It's like that will help you actually to comprehend a lot of stuff way easier. So if there's something that's there's a hurdle that you have to persist in, or not necessarily a hurdle, you just have to persist. Have to comprehend that, well, everybody's gonna try to be like you, or everybody who is like you, or the people that you want to be like went through there. So you want to go through there because the people that you want to be like them went through there, and also because if it's hard, then it's going to be hard for everyone who will try. I love how speed is mentioned in the book, about how to make decisions and make them fast. I had this conversation with my business mentor about 9 months ago. We were on a table, and he was giving me like his mentorship. Every 2 years, he gives me like 1 hour, and he asks me like, what have you done? Where are you at? And like he tells me like what should you do and stuff like that. So I have to work with that for like 2 years until I meet him back. But the thing is, like this time I was speaking to him and he said, look, you're doing something wrong. You're not making decisions. I said, okay. He said, you don't make people make decisions for you. That's one. Which is also another part of the book. He speaks about like always listen to people that make you think for themselves. I instantly thought of my older brother or my business mentor. He always pushed me to think for myself. He's like, look, make decisions. Even if they're wrong, it's you. Even if it's against me, he says, it's you. Just get used to that. It's pretty good. But he said, you have to make decisions fast. He said, look, there's one day that you will be at a table like this and there's two men like on the other side. They will say, we have a business deal. We have a job offer. Great, cool, awesome offer. But it's in another city. You have to make that decision now. So if you accept it, you have to move to the other city. He said you have to make decisions you have to get used to making decisions. So stuff like this, when they happen, you're already used to making decisions. And I was like, okay. And the thing is, he was not alone. Like my mother, and also she's like my life mentor, she told me that multiple times in that time. She said like, you have to make decisions, you have to be brave and stuff like that. So obviously I'm here opening up about literally my statistics and literally like my lessons. But I think this just makes the idea so clear. It's like when I read the book, that was literally when what I was thinking about. So making decisions fast and also changing them slowly. So I had this thing what I wanted to create X amount of videos in 2 weeks. I was creating this amount of videos and I'm like halfway, something like that. I have these thoughts, I'm like, okay, do I have to? I was like, probably should just stop now and stuff like that. But really like what keeps me going is like, look, you said it. That's it. It's like I made a decision. There's no going back now. I made a decision. That's it. Even in The Richest Man in Babylon, amazing book, it's pretty similar to actually Thinking to Grow Rich. In so many sides, he speaks about it. Like there's the richest man in the world or the richest man in the richest city giving advices to young men, and he says, look, if I say that I'm gonna do something, I do it. If I say that every time I'm gonna cross this river, I'm gonna hit a rock in the river, swing it, okay? Every time that I'm gonna pass, I'm gonna swing that rock. If in the 7th day I forgot, I will come back and I will throw that rock. If I'm tired, I'm gonna go throw that rock. It's not like I'm gonna say tomorrow I'm gonna throw 2. No, I go back, I throw that rock. Because I said it. I said so. And that line was very interesting to me. It's like, oh, cool. And this is really like what it is. It's like I have 2 weeks, I have to make X amount of videos. And, you know, I'm like, okay, do I have to do that? I can just stop. But no, I said it. I just said it. Just the fact that I said it is, for me, no going back. Because I made a decision. I'm not going to change it midway. Just going to be changing it 3-4 times a year or a week, a day. I used to do that. When it was the worst version of myself, I realized that the worse my version of myself, based on my statistics that I did, actually the more like changing decisions I do. It's like changing 5 times, stuff like that. But you have to really make a decision like really fast. So you're going, as an example, even the 4-Hour Workweek speaks about it. He says, look, if people are going to ask you about anything, learn how to make decisions and make them fast. So they tell you which restaurants we're gonna go eat in. You don't say, I don't know. Pick one. You know, In-N-Out, McDonald's, whatever. It's like that will give you the habit or whatever it is, like to make actual decisions and make them fast. You know, it's like, where should we go tomorrow? The cinema. Just say something. Never shut up. That is not just making decisions, but really like gives you the habit of really making decisions fast. And don't change them fast. Like change them slowly. Or just don't, you know. Yeah. So here you understand like persistence, you understand like unconscious mind, you understand like auto-suggestion, you understand all of these principles that are just as important as anything else, basically. The last chapter, there's a chapter that speaks about desires and how you can actually transmute your desires. So it's like if you have something that you're doing, whatever it is, whether that be in a habit, whatever it is, it's like it drives you and you're like, dude, why I can't stop doing this? It's like use that, like use the energy, use that desire to do that thing and channel it to what you want to. It's like, I really want to do this so bad every day. I was like, just get that and be like, I want to really do this thing so bad every day. So you just channel the same energy, but you put it towards your goal in a very interesting way. And he speaks about like how everybody does it, like of the great people. There's also like the chapter of fears, how there's fears, doubts, and indecision are the killers of every potential success. I think actually this is pretty much like, now if you want to read the book, like you have a great idea. It's just like as I promised, you have a great idea about like what's the essence of the book, and at the same time, if you don't want to read it, you can just stick with this. This is everything that I learned from the book. Think and Grow Rich, one of the greatest entrepreneurial books of all time by Napoleon Hill. What you've seen here can never unseen, so might as well subscribe.